and the learner has to understand the goals. Usually what happens is that we give a module in that the objectives are written. But we have discovered that when a student comes in as a test, when we ask them the objectives and there is a discussion on it and we elicit ideas and put together, it is not far from the objectives given by the module. It may need some fine tuning, but basically it is the same. Then why bother? Why waste the time of asking the learner his opinion about the objectives? We believe that it is important because the learner gets the feeling that I had a say in setting the objectives. It's my own baby or part of it. So I feel dedicated to fulfilling it. Go to Pizza Hut and order a pizza. They bring another pizza. You want it with pepperoni and mushrooms and lot of cheese, and he brings a tepid pizza with thin crust. It doesn't meet your expectations, even though he says that is the flavor of the hour. But a student, it is very important that a student feels that she or he has a say in the things. It's quite simple. It's only just making them the center of it. So we can use the mandated textbooks. We are not at freedom to change them or something, but we can make the student say, okay, come on, tell me, why are you here? Why are you learning this one? What do you expect? This can come down to a micro level even for a class. For a class also, the student can set the objectives. Hey, we need to take a class on writing an introduction. What do you think we should do? Teacher, topic sentence. Teacher, thesis statement. They will just throw out words without understanding. So it is ingrained that a topic sentence must come. You must have a general idea. It must be funneled. You must come to a thesis statement. This is ingrained. We can call it residual knowledge. But if we can brainstorm, some of the students definitely surprise us by saying what is the logical order of thinking. This has created some problems. Some of the friends I have come across now who have taught in the Middle East and the Gulf know it, because this has a lot to do with the logic of the language. Some people think differently and they write differently that way, the way they think. So you can't blame them. That needs another EFL approach. Anyway, so we go, then the learners create their own goals. So we involve them from a practical work in the PAL, like I mentioned before, and then you will identify. These are the quoted materials in my paper. And then you will find that, as I mentioned before, that it is not much different. All the students will come down to similar thing. Try it out. I have had experience in it. And it will not be different from what we are going to do also. This gives the importance to the learner. It can create interpersonal, intercultural relationships with the language, and then all in all, it contributes to the long-lasting effect of creating confidence in using the language. This one is more important in a country like Oman or UAE than any other place I have seen, where the exposure to the language is limited outside the learning environment. There is no habit of reading, and the second language, L1 influence is very heavy. In those cases, there is a need to cultivate. But at this point, I want to refer back to a point raised by the principal in her speech, that about 85% of the students come from rural areas and we support them. So there is a need, as we do there, to understand the learner who comes from an urban area and a rural area. That learner difference plays a lot in determining creation of autonomy. An autocratic country, if they get a little freedom, they will think that they have got freedom. But in a country like India, which is totally independent, what is freedom? I think we have started misusing it also. So, we have to define the higher levels of freedom. While in some of the countries which I have been to, even permitting them to breathe is freedom without control. So that is a different story. So when the students do come in, if we understand what is their residual knowledge, what do they bring, the background, maybe creating autonomy, they will be at a different stage of the continuum than students from urban areas. So this one, we have tasks, they are aimed at students recollecting, like simple tasks like remembering things which they commonly come across at home in English, so that when they go back and check, see that thing, they recollect the language. So I'll just scan over that. Then, this is one of the toughest things in a self-learning process. Understanding the process of learning. How do we learn? We learn. I read the books, I understand. But how do you understand? It's very critical. Some people use English very well, but I have seen that when they appear for an exam like IELTS, what happens is that they never score high. Always at band 6 or band 6.5 or 7, never seem to break that and move upward. That is basically in the skill because they don't understand the process, how they understand the passage. Nothing else. So if they understand the process of understanding how they are learning, the process, then it makes the learning easier. It's very painful. I can see sometimes the students' brains working, the old cogs moving. But it is painful. They can understand. So what did you learn to learn that? That is where reflecting on the experience is important. When they reflect on the experience, I almost met with an accident. Foolish fellow, that driver, doesn't he have eyes? I go away. I have not learned anything from it. If I sit back and reflect on it, why did it happen? Why did that driver come right in front of me? What did I do? What should I have done? Maybe it will make me a safer driver in future. So this is what the learners have to do, I believe. That they will have to reflect on the process. How do I learn to be autonomous? Otherwise, I think that other things will be just peripheral. It won't be long lasting. Styles and strategies. This we mentioned before early, understanding the styles and strategies. In a training program where skill is imparted, this is from experience, if we don't tell them this is the way to approach a reading passage or this is the way to write something and leave them, then after they finish, when we go back to them with other models, then they try to understand by themselves what is lacking in them. Yesterday before I came here, I had a class where I had to handle coherence and cohesion of essays. Now there is a game there where each group of students, 4 students, are given a topic sentence, all related to rainforest, different aspects of rainforest. Then the paragraphs for each one is cut up the sentences are cut up and pasted all over the place. Each group has a topic sentence. They have to go and identify the sentences which belong to them, put them in order of a paragraph, because they study a paragraph like a burger.